Uplifting motivational stories. Once upon a time, in the heart of a humming factory, a young man worked silently among sparks and steel. He wasn't the loudest. He wasn't the fastest, but he had something others didn't. A mentor, an old technician, wise and weathered, who never raised his voice, but always raised the bar. "Talk less," he would say, handing the boy a wrench. "Do more. And whatever you do, never stop learning." The young man took every word to heart. For 10 long years, he worked in silence, mastering every corner of the factory. He fixed what others couldn't, solved problems no one else even saw. And when the old technician finally retired, the boy took his place. Quietly, but time passed, and the silence, once a badge of discipline, began to feel heavy. One afternoon, the young man visited his old mentor. His shoulders were slumped, his eyes dim. "I did everything you taught me," he said. "I worked hard. I stayed humble. I kept learning. But the ones who talk louder, no less. They're getting the promotions, and I'm still stuck where I was 10 years ago." The old man looked at him carefully, then asked just one question. "Do you believe the factory depends on you?" The young man nodded. "Absolutely." The mentor stood, paced slowly, and said, "Then do something you've never done. Take a day off." It sounded strange, but the young man trusted his teacher. So he did. When he returned, chaos had erupted in the factory. Machines had jammed, orders delayed. Nobody knew what to do. The manager pulled him aside and said, "We never realized how much you were holding together. You're being promoted, effective immediately." The young man smiled. A quiet victory, a loud lesson. From then on, whenever he felt overlooked or underappreciated, he took a day off. And every time, the factory faltered, and he rose higher. Until one day, he arrived to find his access card no longer worked. A guard stopped him. His job gone. Confused, betrayed, and angry, he rushed back to the only person he trusted, his old mentor. "I followed your advice," he said. "Exactly. Why did I lose everything?" The old man sighed. "Because you only heard half the lesson." The young man blinked. "There was more?" "Yes," the mentor said. "You learned that no one notices a light bulb that's always on until it goes out. But here's the part you missed. If that light bulb keeps going out again and again, people stop depending on it. Eventually, they replace it." Silence. Then the mentor leaned in. "Don't let yourself be taken for granted. Yes, but don't punish the world for not noticing you instantly. Reliability is power, and balance is wisdom. So, remember this. In your job, in your home, in your heart, some people shine constantly and never get praised, but that doesn't mean they're not seen. Sometimes the brightest lights are the ones we take for granted the most, until they're gone. Don't wait to be missed to be valued. Be the light that lasts, not the one that flickers for attention. Because the world doesn't just need brilliance, it needs trust.
Once upon a time, a man was walking through a camp where a group of elephants was being kept. As he walked past, he suddenly stopped, confused by the fact that these huge, powerful animals were being held by nothing more than a small rope tied to their front leg. No chains, no cages, just a simple piece of rope. It was obvious that the elephants could, at any moment, break free from their bonds. But for some reason, they didn't. The man saw a trainer nearby and asked, "Why don't these elephants just break free? They could easily do it." The trainer smiled and replied, "Well, when they are very young and much smaller, we use the same size rope to tie them. At that age, it's strong enough to hold them. As they grow up, they're conditioned to believe they cannot break away. They believe the rope can still hold them, so they never try to escape." The man was stunned. These animals could easily tear through the rope, yet because they believed they couldn't, they didn't even try. The only thing holding them back was their belief. Now take a moment and ask yourself, what's your rope? What belief is holding you back? What story have you been telling yourself for so long that it has become your prison? Maybe someone once told you, "You're not good enough. You'll never succeed. That's too risky. Don't aim too high. You're not smart, rich, pretty, strong, young enough." And somewhere along the way, you started believing it. You stopped trying, you stayed stuck, and the most heartbreaking part, the rope isn't real anymore. Just like the elephant, you have the strength, you have the power, but you've been trained to doubt yourself. But today is different. Today you see the rope, you recognize the lie, and now you have a choice. You can stay where you are, bound by an invisible limit, or you can challenge it, pull against it, and realize it was never strong enough to hold you in the first place. Every great achiever you've ever admired, whether in business, sports, art, or life. Remember, belief shapes behavior. If you believe you're stuck, you'll act stuck. But if you believe you can grow, change, and rise, you will. You're not the same person you were years ago. You're wiser now, stronger now, ready now. So take that first step, try again, apply again, speak up again, dare again, fail, and get back up again. You're not here to live small. You were born with wings. Don't let a rope of doubt keep you grounded. Break free. The world is waiting to see how high you can go.
The Cracked Pot. Long ago, in a quiet village nestled between green hills and flowing rivers, there lived an old water bearer. Every morning, he would walk to the stream, fill 2 large pots with water, hang them on a wooden yoke across his shoulders, and carry them back to his master's house. One of the pots was perfect, polished, shiny, and unblemished. The other pot had a deep crack running along its side. By the time the old man reached the house each day, the cracked pot had leaked out nearly half its water. This went on for 2 full years. The perfect pot was proud of its flawless performance, but the cracked pot felt ashamed. One day, at the stream, the cracked pot spoke to the water bearer. "I am sorry. I failed you. I spill water every day. I'm broken. I'm useless." The old man smiled kindly and said, "Tomorrow, as we walk back, I want you to look at the side of the path you're on." The next day, as the water bearer walked home, the cracked pot noticed something strange. vibrant wildflowers blooming along its side of the trail. The perfect pot side was dry and bare, but the cracked pot side was filled with color and life. When they reached the house, the old man said, "Did you see the flowers? I planted seeds along your side of the path, and every day you watered them as we walked. For 2 years, I have picked those flowers to decorate my master's table. You may be cracked, but you are not broken. You are not useless. You are beautiful, just the way you are." The pot was silent. For the first time in 2 years, it didn't feel ashamed. It felt proud.
In a quiet, gloomy village nestled between old hills and silent fields, there lived an old man. Everyone knew him, not for his kindness, but for his sourness. His face always frowned. His words were always sharp. People said, even the birds stopped singing when he walked by. He was always complaining. Nothing was ever right. The weather was too hot or too cold, the food too bland, the people too noisy or too distant. Over the years, the village grew tired. Children were warned not to go near. Neighbors avoided eye contact. His bitterness was heavy, like a storm cloud following him alone. But one morning, everything changed. The sun rose the same. The breeze whispered through the trees the same, but the old man smiled. At first, no one noticed. Then, word spread like fire through dry grass. The old man is smiling. He's sitting in the sun. He waved at me, someone said, shocked. Curious and confused, the villagers gathered near his porch. They found him sipping tea peacefully, eyes closed, a soft grin on his face. Someone finally asked, "What happened to you?" The old man opened his eyes, calm and warm. "I spent 80 years chasing happiness," he said, "always waiting for it to arrive, in wealth, in praise, in perfect days. But happiness never came. It always stayed just out of reach. So finally, I stopped running. I sat down, and I just lived. I watched the clouds without expecting meaning. I listened to the wind without waiting for wisdom, and I smiled because life was here all along. Not perfect, but present." The village was silent. His words sank deep. From that day, something shifted. Neighbors greeted each other a little more warmly. Children played without fear. People slowed down, not to stop, but to be. They found joy in the scent of fresh bread, in the rustle of trees, in shared laughter that needed no reason. The old man no longer walked alone, and he no longer carried clouds above him, not because life had changed, but because he had. And through his peace, the village learned a quiet truth. Happiness isn't something you catch, it's something you notice. When you finally stop chasing, let go, be here, and smile.